I just played Journey for the first time, and I gotta say, it's a bold move for a band to branch out into gaming. Now sure, there wasn't a single small town girl or midnight train in sight, which I thought was mandatory for Journey, and honestly it felt like a missed opportunity. But instead there were flying rugs and fabric jellyfish. I guess that's sort of like a concert crowd. Both make you feel like you're floating. But the soundtrack still gave me that same soaring vibe, so points for effort. At one point, I slid down a sand dune, and I was like, is this the wheel in the sky turning? No, just sand. Lots and lots of sand, but still pretty good for a band that's been around since the 70s. Okay, jokes aside, I just played Journey, the game, for the first time, and it reminded me that we're never truly alone.
If I told you I understood what was happening, I'd be a liar. That's super pretty. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't you dare do it, dude.
It starts simple. You're just a figure in red standing in the middle of a vast desert with a mountain in the horizon. No tutorials, no words, no voice acting. Just you, the sand, and the sound of the wind. And right away, what hit me was the silence. The game trusts you to figure it out, and that trust makes every discovery feel earned. The first scarf fragments, the way your robe lights up when you jump, the first time you glide down a dune, it all feels so whimsical. Then you meet the fabric creatures, these flying rugs and scarf fish that pull you along and lift you higher. They don't speak, but they feel alive, and they make the world feel alive with them. And the word I keep coming back to is whimsical. That's the tone Journey nails from the very start. It's not trying to impress you with menus or combat or dialogue. It's giving you sand, music, and movement. And it feels magical, like a Studio Ghibli movie. I was pretty surprised when I ran into another robed figure. It was pretty neat, just some little NPC companion the game sprinkles in to make things feel less lonely. I loved my fabric fish friends, yet even then I noticed myself drifting towards the other humanoid figure, following their movements. Subconsciously, I wanted to stick with them. They felt like a companion on this strange, wordless journey. And it stays wordless. You're still that red-robed traveler, still heading for the mountain, but the world starts teaching you a language without text. Sand that shimmers when it's steep enough to slide. Cloth that hums when it's alive. Ruins that tell stories in pictograms. The first big mood is play. You stitch a broken bridge together by waking up scraps of fabric, and suddenly your scarf remembers how to sing. It's like the game hands you a tiny pair of wings and says, try them. One of the purest moments in Journey comes when you crest a dune and suddenly you're sliding downhill, the golden sun blazing in the background. Everything turns radiant and the sand catches the light so it feels like you're cutting across waves of molten gold. The camera tilts just right, framing you against this horizon, and for a few moments, there's no struggle, no danger, no puzzle to solve. Just motion, light, and music syncing perfectly together. It feels carefree, like skating, like surfing, like being a kid again. Journey doesn't need dialogue to tell you this is joy, it just lets you feel it. After the opening dunes though, Journey shifts gears. The desert is still beautiful, but the tone gets heavier. You start moving through ancient ruins and encounter broken stone, faded murals, and giant structures half buried in sand. The sense of whimsy is still there, but now there's history underneath it. Something bigger than me just sliding down hills and chirping at glowing glyphs. And then come the stone creatures. These giant, serpent-like guardians that patrol the ruins. I watched as they swooped down and went after my scarf-fish companions, the same little living fabrics I'd grown attached to earlier. Seeing them torn apart made me feel protective, angry. Even though they weren't really mine, they had felt like my friends, like my partners in flight, and suddenly these stone monsters were just ripping them apart. That's when Journey stopped being purely whimsical and started hinting at danger. But the game saves its heaviest blow for later, because when you climb the mountain, the world changes again. Before that, however, you walk into this vast chamber, and slowly as you unlock more glyphs, the whole place begins to fill with shimmering liquid light. It's peaceful, like the room itself is breathing life back into you. And the higher the water rises, the more you float, drifting upward as the air has turned into fabric. You climb higher with the help of these fabric jellyfish, and eventually the great hammerhead scarf appears. This enormous glowing creature glides out like a guardian, weaving around you with this calm, steady presence. After watching the stone serpents tear apart the little scarfish earlier, seeing something this large on your side feels incredible. It feels like the game is reminding you you're not alone here. You're part of something bigger, a community stitched together by light and fabric. And by the time you leave the temple, you feel lifted, ready to take on the mountain waiting above. Unfortunately, that's when the snowstorm hits. Everything slows down. The bright desert palette is gone, replaced by whiteout conditions and icy wind. Movement becomes exhausting. Every step feels like a fight, like the game itself is dragging you down. And the cruel twist is that while you're in the snow, at your weakest, the stone creatures strike again. This time, I wasn't spared. They caught me twice, and I couldn't get away. The wind made me sluggish, my scarf felt useless, and I just got slammed. Not gonna lie, I was mad. Mad because I had fought this hard to get this far. Mad because the storm was already enough of an enemy. And mad because now the game was punishing me when I had no way to fight back. It's brilliant design, but it didn't feel brilliant in the moment. It felt unfair, and that's exactly the point. The desert gave me whimsy, the ruins gave me wonder, but the snow gave me despair. The game takes the very thing that made Journey so joyful, your freedom, and it strips it away until you're stumbling, freezing, and collapsing. And when your character finally falls in the snow, scarf shredded, body buried under the storm, it feels like death, like the end of the road. But it isn't. Not quite. Because Journey doesn't leave you in the snow. Just when it feels like everything is over, these white-robed figures appear. They lift you back up, your scarf restored, your body glowing with energy, and suddenly you're flying again. Not struggling, not trudging, but soaring effortlessly. You make it to the summit of the mountain, the final stretch of the game, and it's the complete opposite of the climb through the storm. Where the snow was suffocating, the summit is liberating. You glide through waterfalls, across golden bridges, up into clouds themselves. The music swells, the colors burst with light, and every ounce of whimsy that the game took for you comes rushing back. It's catharsis. It's freedom restored. It's the game saying, you made it. And eventually, you reach the mountain peak. A glowing white light swallows the screen, and the journey, your journey, comes to an end. Or at least that's what I thought. Until the game sends you right back to the beginning, ready to start all over again. When the credits rolled, I thought I understood what Journey was about. A red-robed figure crossing the desert, reaching the mountain, collapsing in the snow, reborn in light. Simple, poetic, beautiful. But after I finished the game, I learned something that changed everything. Those other red-robed figures I met along the way, the ones I thought were AI companions, they weren't AI at all. They were real people, actual players, in 2025, 13 years after this game came out. I just so happened to cross paths with strangers who were playing at the exact same time. And that revelation recontextualized the whole thing, because suddenly none of it was scripted behavior. They were real people reaching out. Real people choosing to walk with me for a few moments. That blew my mind. I had no idea during the game. I thought they were just clever NPCs placed there to make the world feel less lonely. But they were never AI. They were strangers sitting at their own screens, sharing a journey with me in silence. And I think that's when the game finally clicked. It's not just your journey, it's ours. And that's what makes Journey special. Not just the sand surfing or the whimsical fabric creatures or even the breathtaking music. It's the fact that the most meaningful part of my experience wasn't something the game told me directly, it was something I discovered afterward. Because life is kind of like that, isn't it? You don't always realize the significance of the people you pass by until later. Sometimes the connections are brief, fragile, even wordless, but they matter. Journey captures that in a way no dialogue tree or cutscene ever could. You can't speak, you can't text, you can't coordinate. All you can do is chirp, recharge each other's scars, and decide whether or not to walk side by side. That's it. That's the whole system. And somehow it says more about human connection than games with 100 branching dialogue options ever managed to. What stunned me wasn't just that there were still people playing 13 years later, it was that I could still feel them there. Even when I thought they were AI, I caught myself following them, drifting towards them like it was second nature. I felt the pull of companionship without even realizing it was real. And when I finally understood, it hit me. That journey, that life, isn't about climbing the mountain, it's about how we climb it together. Briefly, beautifully, wordlessly. And then we move on. That's the magic of Journey. It's whimsical, yes. It's gorgeous, yes. But more than anything, it's a reminder that even in the loneliest desert, you're never really alone. So in the end, Journey wasn't made by the band Journey, but honestly, it still captured their spirit. A story about moving forward, about connections that are brief but meaningful, about how sometimes we walk together and then go our separate ways. For me, that's what makes this game special. It's whimsical, it's beautiful, and it reminded me that even though we're worlds apart, we're never really alone. And hey, quick heads up, starting next week I'm kicking off Spooky Games for Spooky Season. Every Monday in October I'll be streaming a spooky or Halloween themed game, and I'll post a video like this on Fridays. Part review, part retrospective, part overthinking. I've got Costume Quest on October 4th, Inside on the 13th, either Bramble the Mountain King or Dredge on the 20th, and Detention on the 27th. That means we'll have a video out on Halloween itself, October 31st. Couldn't have planned it better if I tried. I'm on the road to monetization and would love your help to get there. A sub, a comment, or even a like would mean the world to me. If you wanted to go the extra step though, sharing this video or checking out my other videos would be totally radical, bro. Somehow I actually need more watch time than I do subscriptions right now. I don't know. So if you want to keep going on this journey with me, hit subscribe.